Hey everybody, it's Brooks Van Norming here from the VBOUT Customer Success Team, and today we are joined by Steffen Horst, who is one of our agency partner clients using VBOUT. Steffen's down in California, and he's got a great story about his business and how he's using the platform. So Steffen, thank you for joining me today.
Thanks for having me, Brooks.
My pleasure. So let's start from the beginning. Maybe you can give us a little background on your business, Symphonic Digital, who you serve, and what your focus is.
Yeah, sure. We're a boutique style agency. We're very small still, although we were founded in 2013. And we service predominantly small and medium-sized businesses as well as startups, but also agencies. So we have a white labeled part of our business that works with agencies from small to mid-size whenever they need either overflow work taken care of, or they have a client that all of a sudden says, hey, you know what, I need a paid search campaign or programmatic campaign, and that agency doesn't have any capabilities. We jump in. We're not only jumping in to execute, but we also provide them strategic support as well as client service support. So I always say when I talk to agencies, you get everything from us, from execution to full hands-on. We help you grow your business for a specific service. Yeah.
Got it. And is there a geography that you serve, or is there a certain vertical that you serve?
Yeah, no, not really. I mean, we're really focused on the entire US. And most of our clients are on the West Coast, but if someone comes from New York and says, hey, we need help, I'm not going to say no, right?
Yeah.
If it fits and if we can help them, then I'm happy to kind of bring the team together and see what we can do.
Got it. Yeah, makes sense. Great. Well, let's start from the beginning. What were you guys doing to generate leads, generate sales, automate your marketing before we started working together? And what were some of your frustrations in that area?
Yeah, I mean, as a German, I like to get things on a as, I wouldn't say as cheap as possible, but as affordable as possible. So, we had looked into systems like, Hubspot, ShopSpring, Salesforce, and those systems, they have a huge price to them, and I just didn't want to pay for that. Also, the company wasn't that big that I could just say, you know what, I'm spending $2,000 on a marketing automation platform at the end of the day. We already had, I think, MailChimp in place as our, email system. So we used that, and we just signed up for HubSpot for the normal CRM system, which obviously is for free. And then we just added things on, like unbounds and I think social ML from a social profile. That worked to a certain extent, but once we got a little bit more into the marketing automation side, so looked at what is possible and what do we want to do, we quickly saw that it's going to be difficult to connect all those different systems with each other to push information from one system to the next system. Yes, there's Zapier, you can use that, but it just complicates things, So we started looking into the marketing automation market. What platforms are out there? What do they offer? Where are the differences and those kind of things? And that's when we had internal conversations about, let's look at a few systems. Let's review them and then make a decision on which system we want to use that can help us with the challenges that we have and with the things that we want to achieve.
Yep. Sounds like a pretty logical process to go from the disconnected stack of tools to realizing the overhead and resources, managing those, to consolidating into a system that is really all in one for most of the marketing pieces.
Yeah.
I'm curious, how did you first hear about us? Because this is a very busy marketplace.
Mm-hmm. You know what? That's a really good question, and I'm not quite sure if I can actually answer that question. I mean, you start off with the big companies, right? You start off with the likes of HubSpot. Salesforce I already knew is way out of our price range. HubSpot I knew because they're doing it based on the number of contacts you have in your system, and when I push the slider to our email database, and it's like, no, it's not going to happen. So I think I had a few conversations with ShopSpring. They were okay, nothing wrong with them. And from there, I just went on and looked at at the P2 side, Terra side, etc., and looked at what other systems are out there. And I think that must be when I came across VBOUT. For one reason, I like obviously social reviews or reviews in general. And then, VBOUT really scored high. I think, many platforms was in excess of 4.5, which is great. I don't expect anyone to have a full 5.0, right? They're always disgruntled clients. But you guys stood out from the mass. You had great reviews. People were talking nicely about it, and they were hitting the points that were really important to us here in regards to support, for example, in regards to the platform developing and bringing in new features and listening to the people that uses the platform. So I think that's when we came across VBOUT. It still took me quite a while. I think we had a first email conversation probably at the beginning of 2020, if not slightly before that, right? And then we just started to then have more serious conversation, I think in June, July this year.
Yeah, that's right. It was about 6 months, I think, before you decided to make the commitment.
Yeah.
So when you think about that decision process, what was the main reason that you decided to do business with VBOUT and not the other companies on your short list?
Well, one reason was the price. I already said earlier that price sensitive. So I looked at how much does my cobbled together solution cost me at the moment. Purely from a software fee perspective, not even looking at the human cost in kind of manning everything and then putting everything together, keeping it up to date and those kind of things. And I think VBOUT was pretty similar, if not slightly lower than what our cobbled solution basically was. In addition, the features that your platform has were really what I was looking for. I really was looking for a platform that can automate a lot of the things we do, and would make it really easy to connect all the elements that we have, whether that's the email campaigns, landing pages, and things like that, together to get a holistic view of everyone. Obviously we have the CRM system Hubspot, where I have all our contacts, but it's hard to get all the goal scoring in there in a way that kind of makes sense for me, or is easy to set up at the end of the day.
Yeah, that's a really great point. And if it's okay with you, I'd just like to talk about that a little bit more, because that's an area that I know was really important to you, is being able to see the whole customer journey and use the goal scoring. So yeah, if you could maybe just expand upon how you hope to use that for yourself and for your clients.
Yeah, full disclosure here, we're still relatively early. I think we started in the end mid and August to kind of the onboarding process, which we can, I guess, talk about in a few seconds, because I think it's important to share. I don't know how it is with other systems, but just from an experience perspective, I think it is interesting to hear. But the fact that, sorry, you have to ask
the goal scoring and customer journey, being able to see that and leverage that data. Exactly.
So, once you capture obviously email addresses, or you capture someone on your website, when you capture someone on your website, they're usually anonymous. You don't know who that person is. By capturing them and then being able to get them into the system, all of a sudden at some point they kind of pop up, and it's Brooks, for example. It was on your website, and you all of a sudden see what pages have they viewed, which gives you an indication of where they are, for example, right? If you would be on our website, and I just sent a message actually to someone that had hit the discovery phase in our funnel, and out of the discovery phase into the next phase where we start to reach out, and I saw the person was on the page that we have about white label digital marketing service, and he spent a significant amount of time there. So that's a good indicator for me to say, hey, I want to reach out to that person. I want to talk to that person. I want to see, hey, what is he looking for? I have something that is tangible to talk about, and not just say, hey, I saw you were on our website. And usually when you use systems the likes of Leap, Better, or Albatross, and whatever other system are out there, you don't know who that person is, right? You just see VBOUT was on your website, and they looked at certain pages. But there's still a lot of mist around that. So now I'm able to see who is on our site. I'm able to to get context on where are they? Did they go to the contact page? Well, why didn't they hit the contact button, right? Did they look at what we do and things like that? So all of that, having it all of a sudden in one system to get a holistic view of a person has helped us, although we are still very early, but that's the visibility I'm looking for. Because I also obviously see if they open our weekly podcast email campaigns, you know. And from that, again, I get information about the person, I get information about what are they looking for, what are they interested in, which allows me to have a much more targeted conversation once I reach out.
Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah, that's a great summary. Thank you for explaining that. It makes perfect sense to me. So let's go back to that other point you made about the onboarding. How would you describe what it's been like working with us so far?
So let's start with the onboarding part. I think there are 6 or 7 different sessions that we've done. I think we have 1 left, which I kind of pushed out a little bit just because as we here as an agency are very busy at the moment towards the end of the year, a lot of companies and then also agencies are thinking about what are they going to do next year. So we're very busy. So I'm not as far with your platform as I wish I would be. But we are in a good position to start seeing results. So the onboarding sessions are interesting because they're nicely broken up into the different elements that the platform offers. Obviously, you start off with a more, holistic view of this is the platform, this is how it works, this is how you set things up, this is how you connect all your systems, your website, your GA, and those kind of things, which is great, right? Because setup is usually where things fall apart if you don't do it right. With any solution, you're going to pay for it later on because you're not getting the right data insights. So from there into looking into, how does the contact side work? How does the email system works? How do I set up email templates and connect everything? So each of these elements we walk through and they're usually an hour and a half sessions where, we have conversations about how to do it best. I'm able to lean a little bit on Richard, who does the onboarding and ask questions and get a little bit also feedback because he obviously is the one that has worked with the system the longest, so and comes from the same background, lead gen background. So being able to have someone you can play ball a little bit with, get ideas and check ideas and then get feedback, I think is really valuable. The other part outside of the onboarding, what is great, and I think that's also a little bit different than when you use other platforms. And that doesn't have to be automation platform, just full disclosure, because we haven't used the automation system in full, is the support side, which I like. There's always someone within 5 minutes that responds to questions, which is great. I mean, we're here on the West Coast, obviously. I don't have to wait for feedback. I would probably say 95% of the people there really know what they're talking about, and you get great feedback. And I think that makes a difference, right? Me, as I'm learning the platform, and I'm someone that kind of learns the platform by having hands-on, I'll try to get as much done myself as possible, but there's always a point where I'm like, how does that work? Oh, I can't get this correct. Being able to talk to someone and get feedback is great. Well, you don't always have to say the right answer immediately, right? Sometimes it takes a little bit longer, but it is a great reminder that I think VBOUT is customer focused, because if you wouldn't be able to respond quickly, that will put people off at the end of the day.
Yeah. Wonderful summary. Thank you. It's so great to hear that you're having such a positive experience from the support, and that the onboarding experience has been smooth as well. So when you think about what you've accomplished with VBOUT to date, what would be the one area where you think you've gained the most value so far?
I think we became much better with our weekly and monthly podcast emails and monthly newsletters. So that was always something, because we were having different systems that usually would fall off. because you have to log into different systems, connect things, etc. So now that I have it in there, I have my templates in there, it's all pre-set up. It definitely has been much easier to do. We started off now with automations. We have a couple of points on our website where we're able to identify what type of people we have. As I said earlier, when we work with agencies and help them with white label services, I obviously want to know if a person from an agency comes to our site and there are certain pages and certain activities they do that I'm now able to identify, and now I'm able to set up an automation process to feed them relevant information, right? Instead of just sending something out that is general, I'm now really able to tailor my communication with them. We've seen much better results. I mean, we all of a sudden see, I think, 4 or 5 leads coming in every week through the website, where I have many more information around them, and I'm able to help them because of that. So that's really it. The things probably, I always say not everything is rosy at the end of the day, right? So there's always a little bit that could always be better. And I think you guys have, we talked about this beforehand. From my perspective, as I said, I love the responsiveness, I love the platform, I love the ease to use it. What I'm looking for is, and that's because I like to do things myself, is a little bit more flexibility when it comes to, building landing page templates or the email templates. I think at the moment, I do air quotes, rely on your team to change the desktop or the tablet view to the mobile view. And I think that's where the responsiveness of the system sometimes screws things up a little bit. I can't change it because when you use a system like an Unbounce, there is a way to only change that in the mobile view, right? And that's currently not possible. But as you mentioned before we jumped on here, that's what your team is working on. And I think that's, again, then where I say, I love that you're listening to the people that use your platform, right? You are aware of this limitation, and your team comes in and says, we take care of it. We go into the code and make those changes, which is great. It's great that it offers, but for someone like me who, when I sit down and I'm working on the new landing page, whether it's for a client or for our company, I want to get it done now. I don't want to wait, 2-3 days, because I don't expect you guys to do it immediately, because we're just one of many of your clients, right? But being able to have that flexibility to make those changes, I think that kind of takes another box for me at the end of the day. And then obviously I'm looking forward to what other things you guys are coming up with in regards to push this platform to the next level.
Yes, and we do have some exciting things in the pipeline that will make the platform even more competitive in the market. So, but I want to thank you for your honesty and for sharing that feedback. It's very important. So if somebody's watching this video right now and they're considering some of the other platforms out there that you may have mentioned so far, why do you think they should take action with VBOUT now and not wait?
I think with everything, when people make a decision to change something, the pain must be great, right? It's either it's a financial pain, it's a time pain, or whatever the pain point is. I think that's what usually is the case. If people don't make an immediate decision, they might not be as far along. The reason why we, for example, didn't make a decision in over 6 months is because we're still kind of, we're growing at the moment, but, again, it's a small fee, but are we going to make a change immediately? There were still consideration points. At some point, it was just too big, and we said, let's do it now, right? And I think that's what everyone else has to judge themselves is, how big is the pain point, and do you want to make a decision now? I always say to people, educate yourself. What other systems are out there? What are the important things that matter to you, right? If you need a CMS background, things, you guys don't have that, but I don't think you're focusing on that. So there are certain features you don't have that, for example, Hubspot has, and that's why maybe they charge more, also because they have a good name, right? But if companies look for, a solid email system, that's comparable to a MailChimp, a good contact overview, lead scoring ability, landing pages, and an automation system, I think people should really spend some time with the system, look at how it compares to competitors. And I think that's one thing also, thinking now back, that kind of was interesting for me. You have this website or this page where you can actually select VBOUT against any other platform. Of course, it's kind of a view from what are your key strengths, right? But it kind of also outlines very easily for someone to see what are the features, what are the solutions your platform offers, and how does that stack up against other companies in the market. And I think that was also something I looked at in the beginning and said, well, you know what, the things that really matter to me, this is what they offer. This is what the other company offers. This is what the price is. And it was very nice to compare. So I think that's definitely something I would everyone recommend to look at. If you have several companies that you consider, just plug it in there. Look at what, how the systems that you're looking at stack up against each other, and then make a decision.
Yeah, that comparison chart has been really helpful for us. Yeah. And we did our best to produce an unbiased summary of the key marketing automation features. And in full disclosure, there are many prospects in our funnel who don't get the features they are looking for because of that chart. So, I think we're doing everybody a favor just by being transparent, because as you said, we can't be everything to everybody. We don't do CMS, that's just not our area. So yeah, great summary, Steffen. Thank you. Well, this is great. So if somebody watching this wants to learn more about you and Symphonic Digital, where can they find you and where can they find your business?
Well, they can find me on LinkedIn. I'm probably only German called Steffen Horst, STEFFENHORST in Los Angeles, as far as I know. So you can connect with me on LinkedIn. You could go to our website, which is Symphonic Digital, like this Symphonic and then digital.com. Or you send us an email, contact@symphonicdigital.com works as well.
Okay, great. Well, Steffen, it's been great chatting with you. I want to thank you again for taking time out of your super busy schedule to participate in this call. I know how busy you are and how we've had to reschedule this a couple of times. So on behalf of VBOUT, thank you very much. And thank you for being a customer.
Thank you so much. Thank you for helping us getting a little more streamlined and having more visibility on who comes to our site and what they're doing there, and helping us to shorten kind of the lead to sales cycle, I would probably say.
I love it. All right. Well, thank you very much. Have a great rest of your week.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.